Boom. Good evening, good afternoon, good whatever the you want to call it. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. The garbage disposal in the background is drowning out the guitar. You know, I get it. Not everybody likes that style of vocal. It's cool, but let's not be mean. Come on now. Come on. Not be mean. It's Commander Darklight. Good evening. Mr. Malore. This tune is goodish. Kevin Paul, I absolutely agree. I would love to live in that little island out in the middle of nowhere and be some fun. Nerd Angle, good to see you. Chris Durham Music Channel, there he is. Who else we have? Tony Regime, hello. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where that picture's from, Jessica. I would like to say it's from Colorado, but I doubt it. Dan Hatfield, good to see you. Colon, I hope this is looking nice. PhD Tony, good evening. Ricky Bell and JL Warren, nice to see everybody here. Crafty Keela, oh my goodness. Bob Nodell's Gyroscope, don't get butthurt. I'm not butthurt. I know, I'm just teasing. I know you're kidding, Jessica. We know each other. We've been doing this for, I don't know how long, a while now. I know, Jessica, I know. What's up, Charlie Welch? Bob Nodell's Gyroscope says, gun control, Colorado, the second mass shooting in 1 week. Biden wants to take your automatic weapons from you now. You know, I hear that argument all the time, and I have to say, I kind of call bullshit on that. I don't necessarily think that they want to take automatic firearms from us. I'm not thoroughly convinced that we actually need automatic firearms. I understand why people want them, and just because I'm saying we don't need them doesn't mean I'm saying that we should take them away from people. I detected some posterior pain, Johnny. Well, Jessica, that's you're off then. When is it going to end? Here's the thing. Audio bit's a little low. How about now? Is that better? Let me know if that's better. Let's see here. Good to be here. Been a while, and I'm interested in what's going on with YouTube and MC Tune. This is the conversation that needs to happen. So I'm still covering a lot of what's going on with the whole YouTube business, because it is something that is extremely important to a lot of us, especially in this community here, because we are not the fluff puppies and kittens and rainbows community. X Large, hello. Good to see you. Ricky Bell, hello again. Much better. Thank you, Nerd Angle. I appreciate that. Yes, the second mass shooting we've had in a week. One of the reasons why we need to have a real discussion. And I'm not necessarily, I put gun control because it's clickbaitish, right? You know what I mean? Gun control is a very touchy subject in the States. Just because you want them doesn't mean you need them. And here's the thing. I have no problem with somebody wanting to own automatic firearms, semi-automatic firearms, for collections and for sports shooting and whatnot. That's totally cool. I'm okay with that. I like to shoot myself. I like to shoot, myself. Got to be careful. PSG Tony says, I will say it. No private citizen needs a semi-automatic long arm. I tend to agree. I don't think we need them. We don't have the freedom of speech to talk about the weather. It's to be adults and have these talks, gun control especially. I agree. We need to be able to sit down and talk. Let's get the pedantic out of it. Automatic is already super regulated. You are talking magazine fed semi-automatic. I'm talking about firearms in general. I'm not talking about one type or this type. I'm talking about all firearms. We need to have a realistic conversation, a real honest conversation with each other, and it's something that needs to be facilitated. And we've got to stop this left versus right, conservative versus Democrat, pro Second Amendment versus whatever. That's a pedantic shit that's got to stop, because it doesn't do anything to help. There is an obvious problem in the States when it comes to firearm violence. Period. Anybody who wants to argue that, you can go spit. I don't want to hear it because you're an idiot. If you think there's not an obvious problem with firearms in this country, then you're living with your head up somebody else's ass, and I don't care to have a conversation with you, because there's no point talking to you, because you're not going to hear what I have to say. I've heard what you had to say, and you're just wrong. Flat out, point blank, period, wrong. You don't like what I'm saying? That's fine. Fuck off. I don't care. It's something that we need to talk about, and I'm not suggesting that we have to say, hey, let's go get all this. Let's go take all the guns away. That's not what I'm saying. And I keep bringing this example up because it's probably the most poignant example that I can remember in recent years. If somebody is on the federal no-fly list because they think he is a terrorist, is still allowed to legally purchase firearms, we've got a problem. We won't let the terrorists fly, but we'll let them buy long arms and pistols. What kind of sense does that make? Let's see here. So we need a conversation on how these people obtain the guns to begin with. Every time this happens, the only thing that comes up is gun control, never how they attain. Well, but that's part of gun control, Jessica. Figuring out how someone obtains it and then trying to put a stop to that, or figure out a way to better handle that type of situation, that's part of gun control. See, people think here gun control because that phrase, gun control, it has been so polarized. And anytime you put in and enact a law or change a law dealing with firearms or the regulation of firearms, that is essentially gun control. Sorry, it's ridiculous. O'clock here, so I'll be listening. I am planning to have Foe and Sable on a Keela talks about what actual gun control will look like. I would love to have Foehammer join this one here. So Foehammer, if you're listening or if you're coming in later on, I would love to have a discussion with you about that, because absolutely. Here in Norway, the army are the only ones that have automatic long arms. That might be where it is. Right, we never look into that. We never look into how do we spot the red flags. Was he on a no-fly list? Was he being investigated? See, and that's part of the problem. The CDC is not allowed to study. The federal government is not allowed to study this type of issue. They're not allowed to study firearm control. They're not allowed to study violence in the states. No, it really isn't. If you legally obtain it, that isn't what they mean by gun control. What they mean by gun control is making it harder to obtain legally. I want to know the illegal methods they obtained. No, I'm sorry, Jessica. You're absolutely 100% wrong. Gun control deals with both the illegal and the legal ways you can purchase a firearm. So when you're talking about people who get firearms through loopholes, through gun control or legal loopholes, like, for instance, here in the state of Texas, we can go to any one of the thousands of gun shows and legally purchase a firearm with escaping the federal background check, requirements that you would have to go through with firearm purchases at a shop, getting it from an FHL. As a matter of fact, private citizen to citizen firearm sales in the state of Texas is so simple. There are laws, but they're loosely interpreted and they're easy to bypass. Let's see here. I want to know why there's YouTube channels that train people how to shoot weapons. No, not loopholes. What? It's still a gun control conversation. We need to be discussing the legalities of these gun trade shows that don't require checks. Yeah, that's part of it too. So Linda says, basically, why do you need guns? Now, there's an argument and there's a conversation to be had with why people think they need guns, why we might actually need guns. And, taking it all the way back to colonial times and pre-revolution, pre-America. I understand why we have the Second Amendment, as well as why we have like the no quarter and all this other stuff. I understand the original requirement or the original thought process with the need of these firearms. I get it. All I'm saying is we've come a long way since what the original definition of firearm meant. We've come a long way from musket-loaded and flintlock pistols. Now we're in the age of semi-automatic and automatic firearms. I got some noise in the background. It's kind of funny. We need to talk about the legalities of purchasing a 50% complete AR upper and using a USB mill machine to finish it, thus creating a firearm with no serials. Yeah, I've seen plenty of YouTube videos about Americans making homemade guns. How do you control that? That, again, that's another issue, right? So I'm not saying I'm not saying that this is an easy fix. There's no easy fix to this. But there has to be at least a realistic conversation. There has to be, our leaders need to be able to sit down and have a discussion and figure out, hey, what can we do? What can we do? I mean, I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm not saying that we need to do this or we need to do that, and that's going to solve the problem. Absolutely not. One of the suggestions that I would tend to put out to reduce the amount of firearm violence, it's important to note that even though the States has an absurdly disproportionate amount of mass shootings in almost any other first world country, almost any other third world country. But we have just a disturbing amount of mass shootings in the States. It's important to note that mass shooting deaths don't account for, I think it's less than 10% of all firearm-related deaths and homicide. One aspect of being overly used attitude to mental health. So that's another issue, PSU Tony, is why we're not taking a look at every contributing factor to firearms and firearm violence and firearm death. If you want to see firearm violence go down in the United States, legalize all drugs, period. Legalize every last one of them. And I know people are going to say, well, that's going to cause a whole litany of other issues, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. But if we look at other countries that have attempted this, that have done this, that have legalized, they've seen violent crime go down. They've seen addiction rates go down. They've seen overdose rates go down. They've seen deaths due to drugs go down. And that's another conversation altogether. But we need to take a look at the people who are prone to gun violence are not asymptomatic. I agree, Tony. But again, that's another conversation that we're not allowed to really have. And that's one thing that the conservative right will say over here. is that, oh, well, it's because, well, they're 2/3 of all gunshot deaths in the U.S. are suicides. That's correct. But, they'll say, well, it's a mental health issue. It's not a gun control issue. Okay, cool. So how do we do that? How do we have that conversation about mental health as it relates to, firearm violence? Why are we not allowed to have that conversation? Why are we not allowed to sit down and say, okay, cool, there's a correlation here. What is that correlation? And how can we better help that correlation? Do we say that you have to take a mental health proficiency exam or whatever? Or do we say, let's see if we can solve the mental health crisis in the States, because that's going to help so much more than just the firearm violence in the States. I mean, there are many different aspects to take a look at. There are many different avenues that we can go to help solve this issue. The simple fact is we're not allowed to have that conversation without people getting so butthurt about, oh my God, it's my rights, you can't take away my rights. No, we're not trying to take away your rights. We're trying to have a conversation about whose rights, who should have the right to a firearm. Because almost every single one of the Bill of Rights has been legislated and adjusted and spoken about and altered in so many different ways, with the exception of the Second Amendment. Violent crime is a function of socioeconomic context. And there's another thing that's absolutely true. Yeah, and that's another part of the problem, Jessica. The cat's out of the bag when it comes to the United States. I think the United States owns like 50%. I forget. There's some numbers that I meant to pull up, but I can't remember what they were. But it's an ungodly percentage of all firearms in the world. The United States owns like the majority of them. There are, not talking military weapons, but there are, I think they said something about 2.5 guns per person, per American. Not legal adult, but all of the 330 million plus Americans, there are 2.5 guns per. That's an issue. And I think less than 10% of the American population owns those firearms. Or it may be a little more, maybe like 15 or 20%, but it's a disproportionately small percentage of the American population that owns all of these guns. This 900 million stockpile. It's ridiculous. I understand collection. I get it. I collect things too. Let's see here. Yeah. It is X-Large. The discussion is very polarized, and it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be so polarized. Part of the issue there is we need to take lobbyists out of this whole situation. One thing that the NRA now doesn't want you to know is that they used to be huge supporters of gun control. And it wasn't until the gun manufacturers took over the majority of the NRA that changed. It's kind of funny how that happens. Hey, Dan Hatfield, good to see you. I got none, so someone else is making it for me. Exactly, that's the thing. I mean, the majority of the Americans don't own a firearm. But we have the most firearms in the world in this country, privately owned, that is. So that's crazy, you know what I mean? At what point do we say, all right, enough's enough? You're one person, you have 50 guns. What do you need 50 guns for? You want to collect? Okay, cool. That's fine. But here's how we should hold that collection. I used to shoot pool with a guy who called himself DEA Dan because he was part of the DEA. Correct. The U.S. population is outnumbered by guns. It is. It really is. Let's see here. I'm falling asleep here, feckin' exhausted. It's a terrible accent. I'm sorry, Crafty. People need to click the like button, though. I appreciate that, Crafty. Crafty, if you fall asleep listening to me, I get it. Whatever. This is kind of an interesting conversation. Anyway, really, I just want us to have the conversation, a realistic conversation. And bring all the ideas to the table, even the ones from the people that say everybody should, be stripped of their right to have a firearm and everybody should be forced to have a firearm. Bring all that to the table, and then we can go and find something that makes sense for the majority of people. America does have a problem, but there's more to it than just banning guns. Israel has heaps of automatic firearms. It has one of the lowest murder rates in the world. Yeah, so Mark Short, the whole idea is not just murder rates, right? So, like PhD Tony pointed out, 2/3 of all firearm deaths in the States happen by suicide. What about small, non-removable magazines and rifles? Yeah, you can have 16 MD mag for a pistol, but mass casualty shootings while having to load rounds one by one in removable magazine. I don't know. That would be difficult. Raven Zero for $2 of the Freedom types says, the plot hole, the place where holes have plots. Many thanks for that super chat. I really appreciate it. Crafty says, it's my kind of conversation. It's killing me that I'm so tired right now. Yeah, I get it. But Crafty, we'll connect later. I think we need to also focus as equally, if not more, on removing guns already owned by both legal. I see. I agree, and that's where it gets kind of dangerous when we start cracking down on the illegal firearms. And I think one of the best ways to do that would be close some of these loopholes that allow the free flow of illegal firearm purchases to happen. Not too long ago, I used to own firearms. So anybody out there who says you're just some, commie liberal bastard, go fuck yourself. I used to own firearms. I got rid of my firearms when I had children because I didn't want that. I just didn't want that in my house. I didn't want the possibility for my children to get hurt by the firearm that I own in my house. And if you want to, well, what about the other? You know what? Home invasion happens about 2% of the time, whereas self-inflicted wound happens by accident with children far more than home invasion. So I'm playing the odds on this one. Yes, whatever. Good night, Crafty. Good night, Crafty. Let's see, because Bo, the fifth column, did a great thing on sensible gun control. I would like to see that. The amount of time given to the SEC and the GameStop stock situation with Robinhood versus is there a committee having the discussion about... That's the thing. They're not really allowed to. I mean, they can have I guess they could, but they're not... That's what the Second Amendment is such a touchy subject. So everybody's all, oh man, I don't know if I can have it. I don't know if I don't know if we can have this conversation because I want to piss off my constituents. But that's another thing. There's so many different things here that are just stopping the our American politicians from actually having these conversations. They need to happen. It needs to happen. And just because I'm saying we need to have a conversation about reasonable firearm restrictions doesn't mean I'm saying that we need to take guns away. Crafty may be falling asleep due to PhD Tony's comments. Is there no end to his power, says Commander Darklight. Raven Zero says a plot hole, the place where holes have no guns. Let's see here. Skydiver Tanner says, glad this is being discussed. Sorry if I missed a lot. No, Skydiver, we've only been going for about 20 minutes now, so you're good. You're good. We may not have firearms in our household, but we've got other things to help defend it should that happen, should we need to. J.L. Warren says gun advocates misrepresent and misinterpret the Second Amendment, hence all the bullshit around it. So that's another, that's debatable, unfortunately. JL, I'm not saying that I'm going to debate you on that. I'm saying that there are other people who could debate you on that. And I would love to host that, speaking of which. But I understand what you're saying, and I tend to agree. I don't think our forefathers would agree with the way that the Second Amendment has been interpreted by the Supreme Court and by the everyday average person. I don't think that... again, when they wrote that, we were talking about musket. We're talking about, muzzle-loaded muskets and flintlock pistols and whatnot. We weren't talking about the ability of one person being able to, like, if you take somebody, you take 5 soldiers, trained soldiers, even 5 crazy people, I don't know, whatever, 5 people with the technology, the weapons, the firearm technology we have today, against the British Army of the colonial times or the American Army of the colonial times. Not necessarily, maybe not the whole thing, but I think that, they have a really good chance of defeating those 5 defeating an entire army with the technology. Let's see here. Seen a video from America where a father was shot and killed at a child's party by his own gun, by his own toddler son. Yeah, that happens a lot. There was another incident, I think 4 years ago, may not be that long, but I want to say it was within the past 5 years, where a lady was driving and her 3-year-old son, I want to say 3-year-old son, was in the back, found her pistol and shot her with it. That's irresponsible. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. That there are other people that think that, well, I'm allowed to have firearms, so I'm just going to have a firearm. I'm going to leave wherever I can. No, that's irresponsible. That shit needs to stop. They didn't write that to be set in stone. That's why they allowed for ratification. Exactly, Ricky Bell. And that's another thing that people don't want to sit there and talk about. The forefathers they wanted the Constitution to be a living, breathing document. And the proof is in the fact that we can ratify, the fact that we have the ability to change it. I remember a few years ago, I got into a discussion with my wife's stepfather. He is a uber conservative. We did not get along very well, but he tried to argue with me about the Constitution. He asked me a couple of questions, and one of them was, do you think the Constitution is allowed to be changed? And that stunned me there for a second, because I thought to myself, surely this asshole knows that the Constitution is meant to be changed, because it's been changed 27 fucking times. And I said, absolutely. And he goes, oh, that's it. End of discussion. Can't talk to you anymore. You think we can change the Constitution? We're done. I'm like, okay. You're a moron. I didn't understand the disconnect there. I was like, come on. We are allowed to change the Constitution. It's what's supposed to happen. Amendments are changeable. It's what an amendment. Exactly. The fact that they're called amendments means, to amend or to change. That's why I didn't understand what was going on there. It didn't make any sense to me. Oh, man. Jeez. Oh, JL Warren, I want to hear all about what you're talking about in the old Beardsman side chat. Oh, that's going to be fun. Anyway. You are correct with very limited mag size. Will that solve the issue? Maybe. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe not. I don't know. No limits on caliber, though. Here's the thing. 38, 22, 45, 50 caliber, none of it makes any difference. Your death is gunshot in the head is gunshot in the head. Exactly, Bob Nodell's gyroscope. They're called amendments for a reason. It's to be changed. It's not the whole thing. Just, oh, man, that whole conversation. So if we can't change the Second Amendment, then we should go back to the 18th. Ooh, yeah, no, we should not. We should not do that. CEO of Sabre, good to see you, says, exactly where is the line we draw? Why am I not allowed to have a nuclear warhead in my backyard then? I need it for protection. Isn't that the excuse given for owning all these high-powered guns? Yeah. Charlie Welch has a nice sword. I bet you do. I bet all the ladies are looking to see that sword. But, hey, whatever. So Skydiver Tanner says, if you vote strictly based on the Second Amendment, you have a special kind of privilege or maybe border on conspiracy theory if you can't think of others and only yourself. I've never liked single party or single issue voters. Well, I take that back. I never liked the idea of single issue voting. That leads you to being susceptible to some really bad ideas. Hey, I believe in slavery. I think all black people should be slaves again, but I won't take away your Second Amendment. All right, cool. Let's vote for that guy. No, that doesn't work. Come on now. That's single issue voting is one of the most detrimental things that we can do to ourselves. Charlie Welch, I don't believe that for a minute. Don't believe that for a minute. You dog, you lady slayer, you and your sword. Bet you it's two-handed sword too. You got to hold it with, all the way up to the hilt. Jeez, what am I doing? I'm trying to have a serious discussion. We're talking about Charlie Welch's sword. Anyway, let's hit this mic again. So yeah, we need to have a serious and honest discussion. Yeah, that's going to get clipped out of context. Dan Hatfield, it will be. And that's fine. We have the whole thing that we can go back and say, no, look, if you listen to the whole thing, you'll see. But that's not going to change people's whatever. D Rabbit says, but I don't have an enemy. What should I do? Lay lesser guns than none? Maybe. If you can't protect yourself with a pistol, you live in the wrong neighborhood. I would suggest that if you live in a neighborhood where you can't protect yourself with a pistol, then maybe the issue isn't the fact that you can't Maybe the issue is your neighborhood. What can you do to help fix the neighborhood? What can we do there? What kind of money or what kind of programs or what kind of things can we do to make the neighborhood better? Where is Flat Derp when you need him? I know it. Jeez. Flat Derp is going to just eat my lunch with this. He's going to, yeah. But yeah, if you live in a really dangerous neighborhood, then perhaps we need to start figuring out why we live in these dangerous neighborhoods or why these dangerous neighborhoods exist. That's part of the conversation too. I think we need to figure out inner city stuff. We need to figure out poverty. We need to figure out all that. Sean Hawkins, if you can't protect yourself with a pistol, you are probably dealing in some shady stuff to have that many people coming at you at the same time. That's also correct. And again, get rid of the reason for that shady stuff. We're good. If 3 rounds aren't enough to take down your quarry when you're hunting, you shouldn't be shooting quarry. Yeah, I always like those guys that talk about, I hunt for sport. I'm a hunt for sport. I'm going to put out a deer stand and put out some corn over there to feed them, draw them in. I'm going to be in a deer stand about a mile away and I'm going to blast them. That's not hunting. That's just target shooting. Nerd Angle says, maybe I'm crazy, but up here in the Northeast, we do need to fix the neighborhood. What happened to block parties? Yeah, what happened to block parties? That's another thing. When we stopped caring about our neighbors and when we stopped interacting with the people that we lived with, I mean, just right next door. Oh man. Plot hole, and has any of these gun nuts ever read the 10th Amendment? Probably not. Punch up, never kick down is my way of thinking. And that's the thing. Yeah. So, that kind of goes along the lines of an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. A pound of cure. How do we prevent this stuff? How do we solve the issues that are causing? What are the root causes of these? Because we can sit there and take away all the firearms, right? That's not going to solve the reason why people think they need these firearms. Let's see. But we are the nation of excess, of hedonism, of loud bikes and fast cars. It's built into our DNA. Yeah, we definitely live in excess. It would be nice. It would be nice if we could, like I said, have the ability to say, hey, I want to own firearms. Cool. This is why I want to do it. Cool. And then me say, hey, I don't think you should have that, or I don't think that this type of person should have it. You know, there are a lot of people that are avid firearm activists that agree with, a lot of the things that I say about firearm restrictions, about reasonable firearm control. Sean Hawkins says, I love guns. Poor housing policy killed block parties, says Don Giovanni. That's part of it. That's part of it. But as we have become more introverted as a society, this thing right now that we're doing right now, I don't know if it's cause or what, but I imagine it's part of it, right? I'm so connected with all of you, right? If I saw any one of you out in the real world, if you saw me on the real, you probably wouldn't recognize me, and I probably wouldn't recognize you. And if you did, it would be kind of, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? Like we just met for the first time, even though I'm having conversations with you right now. I don't know if that's part of the issue or not. We definitely need to take a look at mental health when it comes to firearm control. We need to take a look at reasonable restrictions, mental health, drugs, poverty. Those are probably the 3 biggest contributing factors to firearm deaths. Safety. Bob Liddell's Gyroscope says, at the plot hole, don't mean to brag. I'm Irish and I think I know more about the American Constitution than some Americans. It's funny you say that, because the people that come in and, they apply for citizenship and have to take citizenship tests and whatnot, the everyday average American can't pass the citizenship test to get into America. That's a fact. It's just a fact. And that's pretty fucking sad. Let's see here. So dynamite, but I don't want the hands of just anyone. Yeah. There needs to be a serious national discussion, says Sean Hawkins. I absolutely agree. And I wish we could do it. I wish we could study. I wish the government, or not the government, I wish the CDC was allowed to study the problem. And the fact that they're not allowed to, that's just stupid. I can't fathom the reason why. There's no logical reason why they shouldn't be allowed to study it. None whatsoever. Other than the fact that the gun manufacturers don't want anyone cutting into their profits or their potential profits. So yeah, I'm sorry, but we need to figure that out. Mental health, even without the pew-pew, should be taken care of. Absolutely agree. I think that mental health by itself, we need to have a completely different discussion about mental health and the stigmas around mental health. Someone who has bipolar disorder, the stigma around the whole bipolar disorder, or somebody's whatever mental health issues that these people have. So, I suffer from severe depression, or I suffer from this, or I suffer from that. That stigma, like my oldest son, Evan, has autism. And there's that stigma. Oh, he's got autism. Everybody thinks that autism is, fucking Rain Man. There's the whole spectrum. And it's got much better just in the 13 years, really. But in the 13 years that my son has had autism, he wasn't diagnosed until he was 7 or 8. So anyway, the JL Warren, you need 3 more U-boats, 3 more subs. Hey, go sub to JL Warren's channel for some really awesome content. That guy makes great stuff. I'm sure everybody here is already subbed. Just in case, go check him out. But yeah, mental health is something that we need to have a serious, outside of even without the context of gun control. Talk about mental health. How do we solve that? What's the thing? And I think part of the whole mental health thing is we need to have socialized medicine. Oh no, I said it. Yeah, I think this country needs socialized medicine. We need single payer option. I'm not saying that we need to get rid of private insurance companies, but we need to have a single payer option. Absolutely 100% think that it works. Evan is more boss than most kids his age. He's a rock star. I appreciate that. Evan is pretty cool. He's a lot of fun. We've had our troubles with, as most parents do, just with kids in general. But there is that stigma. There's that whole business with, he's got autism, and sometimes he gets angry and he'll throw something. I went through a whole legal battle with my ex about this business, and it's, even 2021, we had to uproot our entire family to a completely different city to be able to appease court systems because of my son's mental health issues. Because of his autism, because people still have that negative connotation. Sean Hawkins, I want to own a high point pistol. They are virtually indestructible. I don't think I've ever used one. I don't think I've ever seen one. Let's see, somebody tagged me here. Let's see here. Nerd Angle says, isn't that fucking sad? It's scary as well. The same people that wouldn't pass are the same people yelling, I know my rights, as they are let out. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yep. Sean Hawkins has a good point. You have to pass a test to become an American. Well, outside, but not to be a gun owner. Yeah. Jay Leno did a test one time. He showed some young Americans a map of the world and asked them to point out the United States on the map. Yeah, that's kind of sad. Part of my issue with firearm ownership is that there's no requirement to prove that you can safely operate. Even in the state of Texas, where you have to have, hey Alien X, good to see you. You have to have a CHL, concealed handgun license, to conceal and carry, or even open. I think you have to have an open carry as well. I've spoken to so many people who've taken that test, and from the experiences they've had, the experiences that I've had auditing some of these tests, it is the easiest test to pass. Any asshole could pass it. Doesn't mean they... Stigma? What? D Rabbits? Oh, he's a flirt, honey. Don't give him any attention. He needs help is all. Or, what you mean, D Rabbits? What am I missing? Anyway, the test to conceal and carry is stupid. It's retarded. I'm not retarded. I'm sorry. That's a bad word. I shouldn't use that word. It's just ridiculously easy. If somebody can hit a target from 6 feet 3 out of 10 times and stay awake while somebody rambles on about this, that, and the other, there you go. Mark Short says we have to pass a safety test in Australia before a license can be approved, and I think we should have to here as well. I didn't know that Bahrain was its own country. I'm not good at geometry, says Sean Hawkins. But yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand. Outside, you take money out of it, there's no reason why we shouldn't be having this conversation. Fuck, even with the money in it, there's still no reason why we shouldn't be having this conversation. And people need to get off their asses. Both sides of the stick, both sides of the fence need to get off their asses about whole, I'm so sick and tired of hearing they're trying to take my rights, and I'm so sick and tired of hearing all guns need to be taken away. That's not helpful. That's not what's going to happen. It doesn't do anything to help the situation. If you're a law-abiding citizen, you don't have anything to worry about. You shouldn't have anything to worry about. But if you're a law-abiding citizen and you believe that people should be kept safe, held accountable, then we need to have some sort of reasonable restrictions, reform. And, there's a lot of people that will say, well, we already got laws in the books about firearms. They just don't get enforced. Like that's supposed to be some sort of excuse for not having firearms or not having firearm laws. That's just stupid. In Massachusetts, you need to take a firearm safety class and submit your application for your LTC to your local police department. Well, that's good too. And there are a lot of little things that we can do to kind of help squash the illegal, or the people who purchase firearms who probably shouldn't. A national background check, national federal background check. All guns should not be taken away. I absolutely agree. If you look, whereas hunting isn't my thing. I don't think, going out into the woods and setting up a deer stand with corn and whatnot, and then I don't think that's hunting. I think that's just killing animals. You want to hunt, get yourself a buck knife, go out in the freaking woods and find a bear, hunt that bastard and get him with a knife. There you go. That's hunting. Track a deer. Find scat trails. Find, normal herd patterns, and actually go out and, capture this deer and hunt it that way. America knows about Port Arthur in Tasmania. Oh, excuse me. And yet they still refuse to change the gun laws. Yeah, but because America, the common thing with America is we think, well, we're too big. It's not going to work here. And it's something that was done over there. And it's not going to work over here because that's over there and here's over here. And it's the stupidest argument. Again, we need to have the conversation. We need to have the sit down and say, hey, we've got an issue. People are dying a lot. What can we do to slow this down or stop this? Do we need to have, I don't know. Do we need to have sensitivity training for what? I don't know. I really don't know what I don't know what the answer is. It'd be awesome if we could sit down and figure that out and try out some things. It would be awesome if we didn't have people derail these conversations, because the easiest thing to do is just say nope. At least you learn how to use what was left of that hand, and for that, sir, I thank you. What am I missing? Wait a minute. Come back here. Oh, Dan Heffel says, last time I used black powder, I lost half my hand. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, and that's another thing, right? So army bases, military establishments, unless you Commander Darklight. Oh no, Tony's powers are now affecting Johnny. I've yawned twice, yeah, so 2 or 3 times. I might yawn again here in a second because I keep using the word yawn. Holy crap. But yeah, no, I'm okay. I just, yeah. But what was I talking about? Sean Hawkins. Yeah, if you're on a military establishment, unless you're MP on post, or, yeah, you're not allowed to carry your firearms. You don't just get to walk around a military base with firearms. I think my dead upload speed needs to be discussed as well. Jessica, are you still having internet issues? We need to contact your IP provider and tell them that they get their shit together. We need licenses for potential deadly heavy machinery like cars. We can license weapons. And the counter argument to that, Don Giovanni, is, well, driving a car isn't in the Constitution. Whereas I get that. I understand that specifically driving cars isn't in the Constitution. One can argue that, yes, it is covered in the Constitution because the Constitution has a clause that states that not everything is... these aren't the only things we're limiting the Constitution to. So I can't remember the exact wording right now because PhD Tony's in the back giving me, lectures. What were you using black powder for? Hand sanitizer. Oh, that's not nice. Let's see what we got. So what do you guys think we should do? What do you think what is our responsibility? Where do we go from here? What do we do? How do we combat? How do we have a call to action? Oh, you stop it, Skydiver Tanner. You should go jump out of a plane with a parachute. 9th or 10th Amendments. Yeah, Don Giovanni. I think it's the 10th. Yes, the internet provider. PhD Tony, I'm not lecturing anyone. No, you're not. I'm just being silly. Just being silly. Besides, I enjoy listening to when PhD Tony speaks because he's very intelligent. We kid because we love. No, I know. Dan, I hope you don't. Yeah, that's it. It sucks that you're missing part of your hand, but one, legalize drugs and sex work. Absolutely. I think those are 2 excellent ideas. Traveling is covered in the Constitution, not driving. Yeah, but again, when we're talking about putting restrictions on things that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and just everyday, yeah, there's an argument to be made there. A flying Johnny O would be nice, to be honest. I don't know. Everyone needs to be put into timeout or grounded. No guns for a year. Socialize the mental health system. Absolutely. You know what to do. You contact your congressman. We have a representative form of government. And while they are lobbyists in D.C. for days, people aren't writing their congressman anymore. Well, so, yeah, they're not writing their congressman anymore. And part of that, especially here in the state of Texas, has to do with the way that we have gerrymandered the state. That's complicated. There's a cultural thing in the U.S. along with guns being a bit too easy to get, plus a lack of mental health care, et cetera, et cetera. Mark Short, you're absolutely correct. And I think those are points that we need to address. Require safety training, licensing, and background checks for gun purchases. I agree. Oh, speed test. Let's picture your speed test. Let's see this. Let's see what we got going on there, Jessica. Good Lord. How do you do anything? 8 milliseconds? That's not bad. 0.29 upload. Yikes. Your download is good, but your upload, not so much. I think we should only allow criminals to own guns. That way we know who the bad guys are. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, so that's where I want to, let's see. Oh wait, outright ban sales of semi-automatic long arms and offer a buyback for any weapons now in violation. That's going to be a tough one, and that's going to be one where I think that'll be just that'll be shot down because sorry for the shitty pun. I just don't think that was going to work. Driving is not a right; it's a privilege earned by passing a driving exam. Whereas I agree with what you're saying. I also think that one can say I have the right to attempt to obtain driver's license. I have the right to. Yes, I understand. I get it. While the candidate runs on a party platform, they are still in D.C. to represent you. They can't do that if they don't know where you stand. If more people wrote, maybe we'd see change. Nerd Angle, you know that if everybody, all three, even the little babies, all decided one day to write into their congresspeople, that nothing would change. We have to get money out of politics. We have to tell the NRA that you are no longer allowed unlimited amounts of spending to buy politicians and buy votes. You are allowed a maximum of $10,000 in lobby dollars, period. 10 grand maximum. And I'm not talking about $10,000 per lobby. I'm talking $10,000 maximum. There you go. I have the worst fiber broadband in the world, 25 MPS down and only 1 MPS. Yeah, that's kind of slow. It's kind of, I mean, is that like, how's he... That can't be fiber. That can't be fiber. Soft-hits will pounce on the right to travel. They seem to forget about the 10th Amendment. You know, soft-hits they're fun. A buddy of mine is a huge soft-hit. Was it Chris Rock? Yeah, it was Chris Rock that said, forget guns, just charge $5,000 a bullet. Yeah. Yeah, I would shoot you if I could afford it. Yeah, that was Chris Rock. Never scared, I think. It was either Never Scared or I think it was the second one. I can't remember the name of that one. Okay, fair. Getting money in politics would help as well. Put our systems does require the people's involvement. But I think you mean our system. It does require the people's involvement. But I think the reason why we don't have as much involvement is because we're so disenfranchised. We need to repeal Citizens United. Get rid of that whole business about that a corporation is a person. The fuck they are. That's just the dumbest thing. No, we need to get rid of Citizens United. That needs to be repealed. 100% has to go. Hang on one second. These work sucks. Anyway, Dan Havel says the thing is there may be limits on lobbyists' money, but they always find another less official way to bribe each other. Sure, yeah, bribes are illegal, and I get they still happen. But if we force that to be more, here's the thing. Part of taking money out of politics also means that we need to have more audits of our politicians. It's a civic duty that these politicians have. They should not. No politician should get into politics to get more money than they already have. A lot of these politicians are billionaires, or at least multimillionaires. Is it just me, or is Johnny O getting more colors in his beard? Red is coming back. Yeah, so okay, so here's the thing. You completely derailed the conversation, and that's fine. My beard is going to... my beard changes colors. It's getting gray. I'm going gray. It happens. As the older I get, the grayer I get. That's fine. But just before it turns gray, it goes red. And then from red, it goes orange, and then orange, it goes to gray. So, yeah. The red is coming back, which means it'll be orange soon. It'll look like fucking Howdy Doody sat on my face and took a shit. And then, fuck. And then it'll go more white, and I'll look like Santa Claus. So, what are you going to do? Alien X, what are you doing over there? Oh, you're having your fun games? Man, that guy's fun. How's the debate over on... Not the debate. How's the Schrodinger. I would love to get Schrodinger to talk about this one because I know he's got some very strong opinions on the subject. Who caught that debate with Schrodinger's cat and that jackass? Anybody? Schrodinger looks a little different than I thought he would look. That's all I'm going to say. You know, he's a real... Yeah, anyway, it was an interesting non-debate. It was some guy comes in and says, hey, Bible this, Bible that, Bible, my book, my brats, my book, blah-blah, earth is flat. I got to go. Anyway, dumb shit. So yeah, there's what we're going to do. We're going to think about this one here because I'm getting on the hour mark. And it's time for me to shut this down and go take care of some kids, get them in bed, make sure they're all nice and comfy and ready to start school again tomorrow because we get to go back to school. Yeah, the dude rage quit after 40 minutes. He really did. I'm not here to talk to people who are God haters. Yikes. What? It goes gray to red to orange to gray. How does this make sense? No. It started out black, right? And then it turns, the pieces that start turning red, they'll turn red, and then they'll turn orange. And then after they turn orange, that's when they go white. Yeah. Charlie Welch says, totally agree. Schrodinger looks way different than I pictured. Me? Yeah, I pictured him to being this, I don't know what I pictured. My goatee has changed from all brownish red to having gray highlights. That's exactly what happened here. Dan, it is a pleasure to interact with you guys. You guys are awesome. You make doing this content creation stuff, make it worthwhile. Hey, my concurrent viewers is 21 and my likes are 12, so 2112. Anybody? 2112? Who knows the significance of 2112? Let me know. First person, tell me the significance of 2112. I'll send you a t-shirt. Let me know. Side chat, let me know. Nerd Angle, absolutely. Cheers to you too. Always fun to have these types of discussions. These are the kinds of things I would go and have with my bar buddies. We would, sit down and discuss. I know what they say. You never talk politics at a bar, but we would do this and we would have really heated discussions. But at the end of the day, Charlie Welch, very good. Charlie Welch, send me your mailing address. That's correct. Rush 2112. Yep. I got you, Charlie. XR's got to go at 3 a.m. here. Night all. Good night. We'll see you next time. D rabbits, but the rest of my hair is more like calico cats. So no, Chris Durham, not Van Halen. Rush. It's Rush. Anyway, Pert is the best drummer ever. Not anymore. He's not the best drummer anymore. Too soon. I cried when he passed, so get off my case. Oops, I'm a jazz guy. You are a jazz guy. I really do enjoy the jazz tunes on Mondays. Because usually whenever I premiere my videos, it's in the afternoon, noon my time, and I'm in the back of work doing paperwork, and it's no fun. The hair on my head, what's left of it, is gone gray. Yeah, mine's starting to lighten up. So, yeah. Anyone tell me the significance of 2113? 2113. Who has a science fiction reference? Science fiction reference there. 2113. I don't know. Charlie Welch, it's theplothole1@gmail.com. The number 1, not the loneliest number you can ever do. Anyway, Mike Smith is the best drummer. I don't know. Okay, so genre specific. If I had to pick the best metal drummer, for instance, Thomas Hockey would win hands down. Thomas Hockey from Meshuggah is a fucking machine. He is a machine. That guy is just so sick when it comes to the things that he does. Oh my God. Oh, geez, yeah. I'll give you a clue. CNC. Golly. I should know this. Dan, I should know this, and I'm going to kick myself as soon as you tell me I know this. I know you're gonna be like, no, this is what it is right here. I'm like, son of a bitch, I knew this. Coheed and Cambria. Not a fan. Well, it's not that I'm not a fan. I just thought that I just dislike him. I just not really listen to him. Coheed and Cambria. I have no idea. If JL, if you're right, then you're right. Coheed and Cambria, 2113. Okay, all right. I thought it was a science fiction reference. I'm pretty sure it still is a science fiction reference. 2113 is a important year in some science fiction-y book. Can't remember the name now, but who was the drummer from Macabre in the 90s? Ooh, geez. There's Neil Peart is no longer the best drummer. He can't play drums anymore. Sorry, Jessica. Neil Peart was an excellent drummer. Absolutely. And well, genre does matter. It does matter because there's some people that you get some of those blues and jazzy guys that Neil Peart looked up to. Yeah, Neil Peart he's an amazing drummer. Amazing drummer. Well, it kind of is Coheed or very sci-fi. Maybe that's it. Stuart Copeland, yeah, he was a good one. I know nothing of music. Neil Peart was not the original drummer for Rush. No, I get it. Yeah. But, when Geddy Lee saw Neil Peart play, that's the guy I want in my band. All right, I'm getting out of here. We're right at the hour, just over the hour. I appreciate all the super chats. I appreciate the interactions. Yeah. I'm going to start trying to put out a little bit more content than normal. I'd like to see the channel grow a little bit more, but you guys are amazing because you always watch the videos and comment, and that's so fun. What was Metallica's nickname during their early touring days? Really? JL? Really? You're going to ask me a Metallica question? Really? Buddy Rich, yeah, is an amazing jazz drummer. When Neil Peart's daughter and wife died a year apart, he took off on a motorcycle from Canada all the way down to South America. Was a great book, yeah. Zachariah Huber, you missed all the fun stuff. You missed all the fun conversations, but that's okay. Johnny O's song While We Chat Away. Yeah, might as well. I'll play a tune. Let's see. Let me see if I have a new one. Let's see if I have a new. J.O. Our Life to Leather or Mechanics. What? No. Dan Hatfield. No. Alcoholica. Come on. Alcoholica. So I'll tell you what. Let me see here. I've got some new stuff. That's just been mixed. We're still working on it, so this is not an official release. But I like what's going on, so I'm going to play it for you guys. Let me get it loaded up. I got to download it from from the drive. Let's see here. This one here. Nope. Yeah, let's do this one. Download that. So we'll play this song, and you guys tell me what you think. Leave me a comment in the comment section of this or whatever, Let's see. Oh, I got to go to the right. There we go. I'm going to add this one here. All right. Nope. Here. All right, let me see. 2, 3. Let's make sure you guys can hear it. Cool. All right. I'll get that going here in just a second. Yes, new stuff. Alcoholic, yeah. Looking forward to this. Awesome. So, guys, let me know what you think. Yeah. If you want to, buy this album, it'll be available. I think June. We're gonna put it on vinyl. It's gonna be amazing. But here you go. Here's some new. This is not The Enemy Within. This is Invasion It, which is a new band. New-ish. But here we go. This is for you guys.
Well, I Your body is warm when I taste you. You